Suppression of the press. Citizens denied their right to vote. Homes and businesses being burned. Tarring and feathering, random beatings. Indiscriminate murders. An order by the government for the forced relocation in the dead of winter. And even extermination of some 10,000 fellow citizens, men, women, and children, motivated by religious bigotry. Could this ever happen in America? When the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was established in the 1830s, the church suffered much persecution. Persecution was especially acute in Missouri. People brought up arms and fought battles against the Mormons to drive them away. Governor Boggs issued an extermination order to eradicate the new religion. From a personal point of view, these tragic events were wrong, and people should not have been treated in this manner. Not only were these events wrong, they were unconstitutional. I'm Jared Wilson. What you are going to hear today may surprise you. The persecution of the Latter-day Saints is a dark chapter of America that has been largely neglected in the annals of history. Mormons settled in Missouri in the 1830s. At an early stage, local Jackson County citizens warned the Mormon church members that they were displeased with the arrival of so many Latter-day Saints. The main reason why they were displeased was because they feared the Mormons would overwhelm their voting polls. Mormons were primarily from the North and were generally against slavery, which was legal at the time in the state of Missouri. A circular, also known as the Secret Constitution, was passed around to obtain signatures of men willing to eliminate the Mormon scourge. The people who signed the circular met on July 20th, 1833 as a mob of nearly 400 men. The men demanded the church leaders to leave Jackson County. When the mob found that church leaders would not agree to the illegal requirements, the attackers stole the Mormon printing press, which printed the Mormon newspapers, and demolished the building. The mob came again on July 23, 1833. Church leaders offered themselves as ransom if they would not harm the people. The mob threatened to injure the whole church. The mob forced the church leaders to agree that all the Latter-day Saints would leave the county. The church sought the aid of Governor Daniel Dunklin because the actions of the mob were illegal, running counter to the Constitution and the state of Missouri. The governor advised them of their civil rights and directed the Mormons to get legal counsel. Alexander W. Donovan and others were hired to represent the church members. This made the mob infuriated. At first, the Latter-day Saints attempted to avoid direct conflict, but the infuriated mob beat the Mormon members and destroyed property. This led to a battle near the Big Blue River. Colonel Thomas Pitcher was instructed to disarm both sides, but he took weapons from the Mormons and gave them to the mob. The defenseless Saints were attacked and their homes destroyed.
The scene would have melted the hearts of any people on earth except our blind oppressors and a blind and ignorant community. Parley P. Pratt.
Finally, church leaders called on the people to take their things and flee from Jackson County. There was a state legislator who was sympathetic to the plight of Mormons, one Alexander Donovan. Through his efforts, a compromise was reached in December 1836 to create two new counties out of Ray County. These counties, Caldwell and Daviess, were created for the settlement of Mormons. This county compromise allowed Mormons to establish their own community of Far West. The primary officers of the county were Latter-day Saints. Many people hoped this would end the persecutions of the Mormons. On August 6, 1838, a mob of 100 people at the election polls in Gallatin, Daviess County, would not let the Saints cast their ballots. This event led to a brawl, in which many people were injured. Samuel W. Bogart, one of the militia officers, decided to make a conflict by kidnapping 3 Latter-day Saints and holding them hostage at his camp near Crooked River.
I was peaceably walking the high road in Ray County, state of Missouri. I was molested and taken prisoner by 10 armed men, threatening to blow out my brains, and swore that if I was a Mormon, they would hang me without further ceremony. Addison Green.
A company of Latter-day Saints militia was sent to rescue the kidnapped men, and a fierce battle was waged on October 25, 1838. There were numerous exaggerated reports of Mormon atrocities that influenced Governor Boggs to issue the extermination order.
The Mormons have been making formidable preparations for a civil war, and one which they are pleased to call a war of extermination.
Whenever we meet a Mormon, he is armed in best manner and continually throwing out his threats. The extermination order was dated October 27, 1838, and stated in part,
"The Mormons must be treated as enemies. They must be driven from the state, or, if necessary, exterminated."
On October 30th, 1838, 3 days after the extermination order was issued, some 200 men mounted a surprise attack against the Saints at Haun's Mill on Shoal Creek. The assailants, in an act of treachery, called for those men who wished to save themselves to run into the blacksmith shop. They then took up positions around the building and fired into it until they thought all inside were dead. Others were shot as they tried to make their escape.
My husband and another brother drew dead bodies on themselves and pretended to be dead, and by so doing saved their own lives and heard what the mob said. After the firing was over, 2 little boys that were in the shop begged for their lives, but no, they said, damn them, they will make Mormons, and they put the muzzle of their guns to their heads and blew their brains out. Margaret Mann Fouts. After the Huntsville massacre, over 8,000 Saints crossed east from Missouri into Illinois to escape the extermination order. The Mormons were forced to leave in the dead of winter.
Our family, as well as many others, were almost barefooted, and some had to wrap their feet in cloths in order to keep them from freezing and to protect them from the sharp points of the frozen ground. This, at best, was a very imperfect protection, and often the blood from our feet marked the frozen earth. My mother and sister were the only ones of our family who had shoes, and these became worn out and almost useless before we reached the then hospitable shores of Illinois. Lyman Norman Littlefield.
In conclusion, as in Mormon history, conflicts sometimes yield compromises that do not work. Conflicts often take many years to be resolved. On June 25, 1976, Governor Christopher S. Bond issued an executive order rescinding the extermination order, recognizing its legal invalidity, and formally apologizing in behalf of the state of Missouri for the suffering it had caused the Latter-day Saints. From a personal point of view, the tragic events of Mormon persecution in Missouri were wrong, and the people should not have been treated in this manner. The persecution of Mormons in Missouri was not only wrong, but unconstitutional.